The Indian Air Force has grounded the entire fleet of Tejas light combat aircraft days after one of the jets sustained damage to the airframe after overshooting the runway at frontline airbase following a suspected brake failure. The aircraft was returning to base after routine training sortie when the mishap occurred. Following the accident, IAF has reportedly grounded its entire fleet of around 30 single-seat Tejas aircraft, and detailed technical checks are taking place. How do you see it? How do you categorize this entire issue, sir?
Absolutely no doubt at all. What he said, it is not a minor incident. It is an accident, and any accident which leads to the various types of destruction of the aircraft or damage to the aircraft are categorized thereafter, fatal or non-fatal otherwise. So it is not an incident, as HAL has said. Aircraft must have entered, it has come for landing, it has landed fine, tail shoot has been applied, that we know, and thereafter the brake has failed. Brake has not worked as it's supposed to be. That is how it has overshot. I'm not sure whether it has engaged the arrestor barrier and then thereafter gone to the ditch, or
Can you
otherwise.
just explain to our viewers what is the arrestor barrier? A lot of people would like to know.
I'll tell you, every fighter or every Indian Air Force base has got, at the end of the runway, has got a very tough, very rigid flexible arrestor barrier that takes certain loads of any aircraft engaging into it. It has got the multiple strips into it, which comes into play the moment aircraft goes beyond the shoulder of the runway, then it engages therein, and then thereafter also, after arrestor barrier, it has got the spring-loaded mechanism, the very thick rubber, very tensile rubber, having a very high density. It is there, so it cannot break. So in this case, all those things, like right now you see, after this tail will be removed and the aircraft will be braked slowly, just in case if the brake fails. At the end of the runway, you still have got that arrestor barrier, which will arrest the aircraft into its strips, and it will hold in there. Even should it fail, then there are also, we have got the Kacha track there after about 100 to 200 meters, into which the wheels of the aircraft will slow down very rapidly. So I don't know what exactly has happened in this case. Neither you have mentioned nor it is in writing. Now that is first thing. So as far as aircraft is concerned, you scan the world literature. This aircraft has got a nil accident report during the entire developmental flight. The previous air chief, I think it was Air Marshal Bhadoria, he was an NFTC. I have been to NFTC when this aircraft has been flying, and everyone says that it's a fantastic aircraft. The two crash which has happened. This is not a crash. This is an accident, all right, but this is not a crash. That aircraft was in the operation or flying condition, and thereafter it has come to the ground.
So that is why I have done the clarification. HAL said it is not a crash, so it is not a crash. We'll just go by what the company has said. So it's not a crash. It's a technical incident.
Correct. So the two crash which has happened, it is entirely diverse. First one, engine seized. Now, can we lump it onto the Tejas design and development? Is the G engine part of Tejas? No, it is the G engine. So shall we conclude that G engine is unsafe? GE404 is unsafe. It seizes. No, it is part and parcel of the operation. What happens? As far as the type grounding is concerned, Karthik, I have spent about 29, 30 years in the Indian Air Force. And I have seen many of the times when we have some aircraft accident where the pointer is towards some malfunctions which involves the entire fleet. We've ground the entire fleet, and we have done checks those things in the past. Many. You take mix, you take other generation aircraft also. All these are part and parcel of the operation safety. So this is a grounding of the two squadrons. Tejas, don't go by it. And second thing, I would say that undercarriage, what happens in the braking is in the the wheels. Now Tejas Mark 1, Tejas Mark 1A, that airframe structures or the wheels are the same. So there will be no difference in these two. But yes, it is a serious accident because it has led to the aircraft being engaged and very major damage is there. There were reports that the pilot had to eject fair enough?
I don't know, because you see the reason why there has been no clarification. That is why I have not made it part of my discussion, because I'll just keep it to what is available. And you see, the larger point of my discussion is about the anxiety which is there around the Indian Air Force in terms of material that is available to our I would say our armed force officers of Indian Air Force. Air Vice Marshal P.K. Srivastava would shed some light on this, sir. You know, we are supposed to be at 42 squadrons. We are down at 29 squadrons. There is an emergency purchase happening. I mean to say, I wouldn't say it's a good shape. We should have, when I started my career, I remember 1998, first thing I remember is we had some 39 squadrons. 2 decades down the line, I am sitting with you in this show and I'm saying 29 squadrons. It's unbelievable.
Absolutely. Of course, we'll not go into the history of why and how it happened, because there are several decades gone past, and we are also intrigued. Why shouldn't it have been taken care of earlier? But of course, since we are on the indigenous path, and the engine is the major issue for Mark 1A, they have 5 aircraft structurally ready, and they were awaiting for the engines, which are likely to come now. And the rate of production will now be controlled and constrained by the number of engines you can get, aero engines from GE. And this structure has been made around G404 and 414. So migrating to any other aero engine would not be a simple task, and it cannot be done. So we will have to go by that. So that is about the numbers, how will they flow. But coming to the braking system, which is in question. So in this Mark 1A, of course, the whole management takes place through an integrated electronic controller. That integrated electronic controller has the software which decides how the braking will take place on a runway surface, so that the heat generated is not so much. It gets, brake, release. There's a pulsing kind of thing which goes on. So to that extent, improvements have been done. And what my conjecture is that this would have been done because this may be across the fleet. It is not one of its type. When they find out that it is not one of its type, particular to this particular aircraft, because of some maintenance protocol being violated, because of some flying protocol being violated, unless it is something which relates to the brake management system or something which has come in play. So they would be looking at improving, enhancing, and coming out with a mod, which has happened as we were in the system for many, many aircraft. As rightly Grupi has pointed out, that once this suspicion comes, then you examine and technically audit all aircraft which you have. In this case, there are just 30 aircraft which need to be examined. So they'll be examined. Trainers are out of it. If the trainers are out of it, there's something specific to only fighters. So as we conjecture or we make a estimated guess or experienced guess, we can only say that there's not an alarm of that type.
Okay.
But yes, a mod can come. It is still within our control. As a country, we are still on a trajectory which we should follow, the trajectory of our own aircraft, because we have seen as the global conflicts we watch and see that sourcing an item during conflict will be a huge issue, and you will not be able to maintain this thing. For this electronic controller is made in India. It is an indigenous version. So, even the carbon discs are made in India. So this is also indigenous. So most of the parts of this braking system are indigenous. So we can always correct it very quickly, and we must do that. That is what, in my opinion, is being done, which is the right thing to do. And since there have been 3 crashes, as Grupi has rightly pointed out, this was considered as one of the safest aircraft during the flight trials. When we go for the final operational clearance, we had nil accident or that major incident kind of report on this aircraft. So that way we are proud. But in recent 2 years, we had these 3 things going on, and that has, in a way, lowered some kind of confidence. But let us tell our viewers, our citizens, through your channel, that it's not so. It is something which can be contained, controlled, and repaired.
Absolutely.
But of course, this is an unfortunate thing because the pilot had to eject, and the aircraft has become category E.